I think I know what they were trying to do with that roof color, but it didn't work. Choosing the right shingle color isn't always easy. In fact, the owner of this house took weeks to just decide on his shingle color. The problem is that there's a lot of options, and the colors that you see represented on the sample boards that the roofer might be bringing to you don't always look the same as they do when they're actually on your roof. So we're going to talk about shingle colors that you're probably going to want to avoid, but we're also going to give you some information about what to do so that you get it right the first time, so that you don't end up with the regret. And at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you what shingle colors almost always look great no matter what house they go on. And I'm going to show you what is currently the most popular shingle color. I think you're going to be as amazed as I was. But first, why does any of this even matter? Well, it's because choosing a shingle color is something that normally you hope you only have to do once in your lifetime. And that's why the owner of this house took so long just to choose his shingle color, because he knows that it's something that he's going to have to live with for the rest of his life. So he didn't want a daily reminder that he made a bad choice when he could have made a good one. One of my own customers decided that she wanted a red shingle on her house. She said that it looked unique, it looked good on the sample board. We kind of tried to steer her away from that, but she wouldn't be persuaded. She wanted a red shingle. But when she came home from work that day that we finished the install, it didn't look anything like she pictured it, and she ended up hating the color of her roof. And the thing is, she's not alone. So this whole experience really helped me realize that there's two common mistakes that homeowners make that lead them to regretting the choice of the shingle color that they've put on their house. But I'm not only going to tell you the mistakes that people make, but I'm going to tell you the colors that I would probably never recommend somebody put on their own house. Now, generally, you're going to want to avoid the really unique colors, probably what I would call the really bold colors. Now, they may be boring, but there's a reason that the more neutral colors are the most popular, and that's because they work on pretty much any home. Now, you might think right now that a bright blue roof or an almost white roof looks really good, and it might look really good with your house, but in a few years from now, when you want to paint your house, are you going to be limited to the color that you can paint your house because of your roof? And you might think that that red roof is really cool now, but a few years from now, you may not appreciate being the owner of that house in the neighborhood. Remember, back in the 80s, we all thought that mullets were pretty cool. Just about every manufacturer makes what's called a red shingle, but they're almost never truly red. They almost all have some sort of orange tint to them, and that kind of shingle only works on a very particular type of house. I've actually never seen a house with a red shingle that I just thought looked really good or good at all. Also, true blue shingles only look good on a very small number of homes. I would probably never recommend that you put a true blue shingle on your home. And there's one manufacturer that even makes a dark purple shingle. Yeah, a purple shingle. Really? Next are the shingles which kind of seem like they just can't make up their mind which way they want to go with the color. Now, every shingle has multiple colors in it, but those colors are blended in a very subtle way so that your shingle ends up looking like it's got one general color theme. But there's some shingles out there that have just radically different color schemes in them. They look like, honestly, some sort of kindergarten art project. Copper Canyon by GAF is kind of like this. And Owens Corning has a whole series of what they call their designer shingles, and most of those colors kind of look like Picasso had a bad dream and tried to capture it on shingles. In their designer series, the Owens Corning Bourbon and Merlot and aged copper, look like they belong more on the side of a hot air balloon than on the roof of a house. And here's one that's kind of due its own special warning. It doesn't fit neatly into any of the other categories I've talked about so far, but CertainTeed has a product called Granite Gray, and on the sample board it looks really good. And when you see it on their website, on the photos on their website, it looks really good. But the problem is that it has a pretty subtle green tint to it that just kind of gets magnified when you put it up on a roof. And we actually had a homeowner who chose Granite Gray. And then when it got up on his roof, he was like, ugh, that's actually kind of ugly because of the green tint. So now we know if somebody says that they're leaning toward Granite Gray to kind of warn them about the green tint of that shingle. Hey, if you feel like this video has helped you avoid choosing a bad shingle color, leave a comment down below. We'd love to hear from you. There's not enough time to go through all the different manufacturers and all the weird quirky colors that they've decided to produce. So how do you avoid choosing a shingle color that you're going to regret? Well, first of all, consider kind of the current color and especially the style of your home. A green shingle looks pretty awesome on like a dark brown log cabin style home, but it would look pretty stupid on a contemporary style home like this. A terracotta color shingle would probably look pretty good on a tan adobe style house, but it would look pretty stupid on a red brick house. Basically, your shingle color should complement the current color and style of your home. Now, I also like to see it when a shingle color kind of sets off a contrast against the color of the house. So what I mean by that is if you have a lighter colored house, like a light gray or a light blue or something like that, then a darker colored shingle works really well. And surprisingly, if you have a house that's kind of a light yellow with white trim or kind of a light green or even almost a darker green with a lighter color trim, then a shingle that has a mix of subtle blues and grays, like what's called thunderstorm gray, looks really, really good. The next thing you should do is ask your roofer to use an app called Hover. And what Hover does is it builds a 3D model of your home, and it tries to approximate your current existing roof color, siding color, and trim color. And then you can use the app, the roofer can just send you a link to it, and you can use that to change the roof color to any manufacturer and any color shingle that they have. So that way you can see what your house is going to look like with that shingle with your current color scheme on the rest of your house. But you have to remember, all of that is digital. So I would recommend that you choose 2 or 3 colors that you think are going to work, and then ask your roofer to give you sample boards so that you can see it. But remember, sample boards oftentimes don't look like the shingle when it's on your roof. So you can ask your roofer to give you some addresses of houses that have the shingles and the shingle colors that you're looking at, so that way you can drive by and see what the shingle looks like in a real world setting. The advantage of that is then you get a real idea of what it could look like on your house. Because I mean, leave a comment down below about this. Have you ever painted a wall in a room a particular color that you thought would work really well, and then you thought, boy, that's stupid, right? So paint is one thing, because you can easily paint over that wall again, but once that roof's on, you're not going to want to try to replace it just because you don't like the color. Next thing is, don't rely on trends. I know Owens Corning has come out with those designer shingles with their colors like bourbon and Merlot. Those colors sound so cool, right? So artistic. But the problem is, I'm going to bet that those colors are obsolete within a few years. They're not going to even be making them anymore because they're just not going to be popular. Now I'm going to tell you what the most popular and versatile shingle colors are. And after that, I'm going to give you just a quick checklist that you can use to help you avoid getting a shingle color that you're going to regret. Weathered wood and driftwood are two colors that are really popular, and it's because they're very neutral. So they're going to work on pretty much any home. And then shingles that are primarily some sort of a brown color, kind of a rich brown color, those are really nice because they tend to complement the color of pretty much any home, especially earth tone colored homes. So brown wood is a really nice brown color, and Certainteed has one called Heather Blend, which I really like. It's actually my favorite color because it works on so many different styles and colors of houses. All right, but do you know what the most popular color of shingles has been for years? It's black or charcoal, some sort of shade of black. All over the country has been the most popular in every region of the country. I mean, that's actually kind of surprising. Okay, so now here's your checklist to help you avoid choosing a shingle color that you're going to regret in the future. Number one, stay away from colors that are unique or bold. In your neighborhood, if nobody else has a bright red roof, there's probably a reason for that. Consider your home's current color, or if you're going to be painting, think about what color you may want to paint in the future, and consider your home's current style. Number three, don't rely on sample boards alone. Have your roofer use an app called Hover and send you a link to it so that you can kind of design the colors of your own house. And number four, stick with what works, not the stuff that's cool or trendy.